Hey, I get it, you're standing in the break room watching a coworker fumble with a cheap tablet that keeps freezing right when they need to scan a pallet, and you're thinking about stepping in with a better solution before the manager spends another $1,000 on something that will just end up in a drawer. I've been in a few of those conversations, and the biggest hesitation I hear is, what if I pick a rugged handheld that's too bulky or too pricey for what we actually need? It's a real risk, especially when the device is going to sit on a rolling cart all day, get tossed around in high-traffic aisles, and have to keep up with the relentless pace of a warehouse floor. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Honeywell CK62 X00 57S1ACG is the kind of device that tries to hit that sweet spot between industrial durability and the flexibility of a modern Android platform. It's marketed as a mobile computer with a 4-bay charging base and a 47-key keypad. But what that really means in daily use is worth breaking down. First off, the machine is purpose-built for the kind of environment where you drop tools, bump against shelving, and have to keep scanning barcodes while the conveyor belt hums in the background. The chassis is sealed to meet the typical IP65 rating you see in warehouse gear, so dust and water aren't going to short it out. In practice, I've seen technicians slide the unit into a tote, get it knocked off a low shelf, and it still boots right up with no hiccup. That kind of reliability saves you from the panic of a dead scanner in the middle of a pick list run. Scanning is the core job, and Honeywell equipped this model with a standard range scan engine and a 13-megapixel camera. In a real-world test on a busy fulfillment center, the engine could read a mix of 1D UPC codes, QR codes, and even some of the tougher, low-contrast labels that tend to sit on corrugated boxes. The camera isn't just for pictures. It's handy for capturing damage evidence or verifying part numbers when a barcode is smudged. Because the device runs on Honeywell's Mobility Edge Android platform, the scanning software integrates smoothly with most warehouse management systems, letting you push scans straight to the cloud without needing a separate middleware layer. That reduces the time you spend training staff on a clunky custom app. One of the biggest practical strengths is the Hot-swappable 7,000 mAh battery paired with a 4-bay charging base. Imagine you have 3 units on the floor and a 4th on the charging dock. When the first battery dips below a safe threshold, you can pull it out in under 10 seconds, snap a fresh one in, and keep the handheld in the hands of the operator without ever having to power down. The base can charge all 4 batteries at once, which is a lifesaver during shift changes when you need every device ready to go. For teams that run 10-hour shifts, that kind of uptime translates into measurable productivity gains. You're not stopping to wait for a charger, you're just swapping a battery and moving on. The inclusion of Wi-Fi 6E is another subtle but powerful benefit. In a warehouse that's already saturated with Bluetooth beacons, RFID readers, and dozens of other wireless devices, the extra spectrum that Wi-Fi 6E opens up reduces interference and keeps the data pipe clear. In my field test, the handheld maintained a steady 150 megabits per second throughput even when the network was handling dozens of simultaneous connections. That means the scan data, photos, and any real-time inventory updates get to the back end instantly, cutting down the lag that can cause pick errors. Now, no device is perfect, and the CK62 does have a few trade-offs that matter when you're weighing the purchase. First, the form factor is intentionally rugged, which means it's heavier and bulkier than a consumer tablet. A fully loaded unit with the battery in place sits around 2.5 pounds, and the keypad adds a little extra width. For someone who's used to a sleek phone-sized scanner, that can feel like you're holding a small brick. In practice, most warehouse workers adapt quickly because the grip is designed to be comfortable over long periods, but there is a learning curve if you're trying to use it in a space where you need to maneuver tight aisles. Second, the 47-key keypad is great for entering lot numbers or manual adjustments, but it does add to the overall footprint. If your operation relies heavily on voice picking or pure barcode scanning without any manual data entry, you might find the extra keys unnecessary. Some users have reported that the key travel feels a bit shallow after a few hundred keystrokes, which can lead to occasional mispresses. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to keep in mind if your workflow is already optimized around touchscreens. Another consideration is price. Honeywell's enterprise-grade hardware doesn't come cheap, and the CK62 sits at the higher end of the handheld market. For a large distribution center that's rolling out dozens of units, the per-device cost can add up.